Live from the Herberger Theater in downtown Phoenix, the KTAR Players present Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. This year's KTAR Players feature Michael Dixon as Scrooge, Pat McMahon as Bob Cratchit, Craig Henderson as the narrator, Jamie McFerrin as Mrs. Cratchit. And also included in our production are KTAR's John Gibson, Ned Foster, Jay Lawrence, Michael Burkett, and Greg Smith, along with other favorite Dickens characters played by Jerry Colangelo, Janine Ford, Linda Williams, Frank Camacho, Sergio Pedrosa, Marisa Hilary, Charlie Van Dyke, Melody Brooks, and David Lee. With special appearances by Senator John McCain, Cindy McCain, Congressman Ed Pastor, Phoenix Mayor Paul Johnson, and Gene C. Blue. So let your imagination take you now to a cold December day in Dickens' London as the KTAR Players present A Christmas Carol.
Cratchit?
But, sir, it's very cold.
Put the wood back.
Very good, sir.
Directly after Christmas, I shall put a lock on the wood box. Understand?
Yes, Mr. Scrooge. It's only that it's a bitter day, and I have a bit of a cold, sir.
It's no excuse for you to rob the wood box. Besides, we all work better in air that's a bit brisk.
Yes, sir.
Unrest ye merry gentlemen, let nothing you dismay. Remember Christ our Savior was born on Christmas Day, to save us all from Satan's power when we were gone astray. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy, comfort and joy. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy.
Stop that noise, do you hear? Stop it at once. Be off, the lot of you.
La 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 la.
Yes, that is old Scrooge, Ebenezer Scrooge. Busy afternoon before Christmas Day in the year of our Lord 1844. And despite the bitterly cold weather, all of London is in a festive mood. But there is no happy expression on Ebenezer Scrooge's lined face as he closes the front door of his warehouse and returns to his office. He throws a glowering look at his clerk, Bob Cratchit. Satisfied that the poor wretch is hard at work, Scrooge adjusts his spectacles. Then, without warning...
Merry Christmas, Uncle. God save you.
Humbug.
Christmas? A humbug? Surely you don't mean that, Uncle.
Merry Christmas indeed. What right have you to be merry? You're poor enough.
What right do you have to be dismal? You're rich enough.
What's Christmas time to you but a time for paying bills without money? A time for finding yourself a year older and not an hour richer? If I had my way, every idiot who goes about with Merry Christmas on his lips would be boiled with his own pudding and buried with a stake of holly through his heart. You keep Christmas in your own way. Let me keep it in mine.
Keep it, but you don't keep it.
Let me leave it alone then.
Well, Uncle, I've always thought of Christmas as a good time, a fine, charitable, pleasant time, and therefore, though Christmas has never put a scrap of silver in my pocket, I believe it's done me good. So I say, God bless it.
Well spoken, Mr. Fred.
Let me hear another sound from you, Cratchit, and you'll keep Christmas by losing your situation. You're quite a powerful speaker, Fred. I wonder why you don't go to Parliament.
Don't be angry. I came here to ask you to come and dine with Peg and me tomorrow.
I'm not interested.
But I want nothing from you.
No.
Only your company.
No.
But why? You've never met my wife.
Why did you get married?
Because I fell in love.
Because you fell in love. Good afternoon.
Why can't we be friends?
Good afternoon.
I'm sorry, but I'm not going to allow you to chase away the Christmas spirit I feel in my heart. A Merry Christmas, Uncle, and a Happy New Year. Merry Christmas, Bob.
The same to you, Mr. Fred.
Humbug.
Pardon me, Mr. Scrooge, but there are two gentlemen here to see you.
What about Cratchit?
They didn't say, sir.
Ah, good afternoon, sir. Have we the pleasure of addressing Mr. Scrooge or Mr. Marley?
Mr. Marley, my former partner, has been dead these 7 years. He died 7 years ago tonight.
Then we have no doubt his liberality will be well represented by his surviving partner.
At this festive season of the year, Mr. Scrooge, we try to make some slight provision for the poor and destitute who suffer greatly at the present time. Many thousands are in want of common comfort, sir.
Are there no prisons?
Plenty of prisons.
And the workhouses? Are they still in operation?
They are, unfortunately. I wish I could say
And
they were
the
not.
poor law, is it still in full vigor?
It is, sir.
Well, I was afraid from what you said that something had occurred to stop them in their useful course. I'm glad to hear it.
We choose this time to help these unfortunates because it is a time when want is strongest. What shall we put you down for?
Nothing.
You wish to be anonymous?
I wish to be left alone. I don't make merry myself at Christmas, and I can't afford to make idle people merry. I help support the establishments I have mentioned. Those who are badly off must go there.
Most of them would rather die than do that.
If they be like to die, then they better do it and help decrease the surplus population.
Obviously, you are not interested in the misfortune of others.
It is enough for a man to understand his own business and not to interfere with that of other people's. Mine occupies me constantly. Good day, sir.
Merry Christmas, Mr. Scrooge.
Charity. Oh, humbug.
Mr. Scrooge, sir?
What is it, Cratchit?
Well, I was wondering...
You were wondering if you could go home.
Yes, sir, it's...
It's but 12 minutes past 5 o'clock, Cratchit. Your work day ends at 6.
I know, sir, but I have to stop at the greengrocer's and the poulterer's before I get home, and they close at 6 o'clock sharp.
Wait. Very well. You'll want all day tomorrow, I suppose.
If quite convenient, sir.
It's not convenient, and it's not fair. If I was to stop a half a crown for it, you'd think yourself ill-used, wouldn't you, Mr. Cratchit? And yet, you don't think me ill-used when I pay a day's wages for no work.
It's only once a year, sir.
A poor excuse for picking a man's pocket every 25th of December. But I suppose you must have the whole day. Very well. But be here all the earlier the next morning.
Indeed I will, Mr. Scrooge. And Merry Christmas, sir.
Humbug!
A few minutes later, Scrooge leaves his warehouse and makes his way to his melancholy chambers, a gloomy suite of rooms, and by the light of a single flickering candle, he eats his cold supper. And then, to save lighting his stove, Ebenezer Scrooge retires for the night. The minutes tick away. Scrooge sleeps uneasily, tossing from side to side. Suddenly, he wakes with a start. Walking toward him and dragging a heavy chain is a gray, dim figure of a man. It stops at the foot of the bed.
Who are you? What do you want with me?
Ask me who I was.
Who were you then?
In life, I was your partner, Jacob Marley.
Marley. Can you sit down?
You don't believe me.
I don't.
Why do you doubt your senses?
You're nothing but a stomachache. An undigested bit of beef, a blot of mustard, a crumb of cheese. There's more gravy than grave about you. Humbug!
You're wrong. I am the ghost of Jacob Marley.
Then why do you come to me?
It is required of every man that the spirit within him should walk among his fellow men and travel far and wide. And if that spirit goes not forth in life, It is condemned to do so after death.
You are fettered, Jacob. You're in chains. Tell me why.
I wear the chain I forged in life. I made it link by link, yard by yard of my own free will. I wore it. Is its pattern strange to you? You also wear one, Ebenezer, only you are still forging yours.
Can't you speak some words of comfort to me, Jacob?
I have none to give. I cannot rest. I cannot linger anywhere. Many weary journeys lie ahead of me.
7 years dead and traveling all that time.
The whole time. No rest, no peace, incessant torture of remorse. I travel on the wings of the wind. Oh, such was I, an unheeding man.
But you were always a good man of business, Jacob.
Business? Mankind was my business. The common welfare was my business. Charity, mercy, forbearance, and benevolence were all my business. The dealings of my trade were but a drop of water in the ocean of my business. And this time of year, I suffer most.
Oh, you do speak strangely, Jacob.
Hear me. My time is nearly gone.
I will, but don't be hard on me.
I am here to warn you that you have a chance of escaping my fate.
You were always a good friend to me, Jacob.
You will be haunted by 3 spirits. Without their visits, you cannot hope to escape my fate. Expect the first when the bell tolls 1.
Couldn't I just take them all at once and have it over with?
Expect the second when the bell tolls twice, and the third when the bell strikes 3 times, and heed them when they appear. You will not see me anymore, but remember what has passed between us.
As Scrooge stares in frightened silence, the wraith-like figure of his deceased partner dissolves into space. Then, exhausted by the ordeal, Scrooge drops off to sleep. 12 o'clock comes. Time passes. Then, the curtains of Scrooge's bed are drawn aside, but by no visible hand. There by the bed stands an unearthly visitor, a strange figure like a child. Its shroud is white, and in its hand it holds a sprig of fresh green holly. Scrooge stares and then speaks.
Are you the spirit whose coming was foretold to me by Jacob Marley?
I am.
Who? What are you?
I am the ghost of Christmas past.
Long past?
No, your past. Rise and walk with me.
Where?
Out through the window.
But we are 3 stories above ground. I'm only mortal.
But bear a touch of my hand upon your heart, and you shall be upheld in more than this.
What are we going to do?
I am going to help reclaim you. Come, walk with me out into the night, into the past.
Tell me, ghost of Christmas past, where are we?
Look down, Ebenezer, and remember back.
Why, of course, the river, those meadows, and there's my old school. I went there as a lad, but there's no one about.
It is Christmas holiday. Let us look into this study hall.
Well, it's empty. It's empty except for a young boy sitting at a desk, his head in his hands. He's left behind. He's crying, poor chap. No place to go at Christmas. Oh, now he's looking up.
Do you recognize him?
Why, it's...
What's his name?
Ebenezer Scrooge. Oh, I wish. But it's too late now.
What is the matter?
Nothing. There were just some young people singing Christmas carols outside my warehouse yesterday afternoon. I drove them away.
Let us see another Christmas. It is a year later. Another Christmas.
And again, there is a school.
That boy standing in the driveway, pacing up and down.
It is I.
And what do you see?
A coach coming up the driveway. Now it's stopped. And the little girl gets out. Look, she's hugging me. Oh, it's Fan, my sister.
Listen to what she says.
I've come to bring you home, dear brother. Father's wrath is not what it once was. He says you need not return to this place ever again. So from now on, we'll always be together. Just think, together for the first time in 4 years.
Your sister was a delicate creature, kind, big-hearted.
Oh, she was, so she was. And she died so young.
She left one child behind her.
Yes, my nephew, Fred.
He visited you yesterday.
Yes. Yes, so he did. May we leave here?
Yes, for there is another shadow.
What? Bless my soul!
Do you know him?
Know him, of course I know him. Bless his heart, it's old Fezziwig, alive again. I was once one of his apprentices. He taught me business. Oh, he's a fine man, old Fezziwig.
One of you boys, come here.
Yes, Mr. Fezziwig.
Do you know the day, Ebenezer Scrooge?
Indeed, yes, sir. It's the afternoon before Christmas.
To be sure, and no work for the day, not a tap of it, understand? Now up with the shutters, Ebenezer.
Yes, sir.
Tonight we'll dance and sing and play. There will be no talk of business or of profits or losses. Mrs. Fezziwig and my daughters have the finest of foods ready.
And I've been smelling those wonderful odors all day.
Off we go then. We'll keep Christmas as it should be kept.
A silly man.
Mr. Fezziwig was not a silly man. He was kind and generous. If only I could speak to him.
My time grew short. There is still another shadow.
I've seen enough.
Are you sure, Ebenezer? I think not. The years have passed. In this house below, look, there sits a young girl, a beautiful girl.
Oh, it's Belle.
The girl you were to marry. And there you sit next to her, a young man in your prime. Only now your face begins to show the signs of avarice. There is a greedy, restless motion in your eyes. Listen to what she is saying to you.
It matters very little to you. Another idol has displaced me, a golden one. You hold money more important than me, or anything else for that matter. I'm going to grant your wish, Ebenezer. Free you from marrying me. That is the way you wish it. Ebenezer, I feel sorry for you.
Spirit, show me no more.
Today, Belle is a happy woman, surrounded by her fine children. Those children might have been yours if you hadn't been so selfish.
Take me back! Haunt me no more! I beg you, haunt me no more!
The steeple clock has just finished striking the second hour of Christmas Day, and Scrooge finds himself back in his bedroom. Slowly, his door, though bolted, swings open.
Ebenezer Scrooge. Ebenezer Scrooge. I am the ghost of Christmas present. Look upon me.
You're practically a giant, and yet you have such a young face. I've never seen the like of you before.
I have many brothers, more than 1,800, one for each Christmas.
You are here to take me with you?
Yes. I trust you will profit by your journey. Touch my robe, Ebenezer.
Those people in the church, they seem very happy.
Oh, they are. For they are giving thanks for all the joys brought to them during the year.
And the crew of that ship over there, look. They're shaking hands with the captain.
Wishing him a Merry Christmas. But come, we have not time left, and there is still another place we must visit. It is a very poor house in a very poor section of London. This one. directly below us.
Indeed, it is. Who, may I ask, lives here?
An underpaid clerk named Bob Cratchit.
Bob Cratchit? The Bob Cratchit who is employed by me?
The very same.
But that woman. Those 4 children.
His wife and family.
Yes, coming up the stairs right now. That's Cratchit. That's Cratchit. He's carrying a young boy.
His 5th child, Tiny Tim.
He carries a crutch.
Because he is crippled.
Oh, yes, but the doctors...
Cratchit cannot afford a doctor. Not on 15 shillings a week.
Oh, yes, but if you just...
Listen.
Good afternoon, everyone.
And a most Merry Christmas.
Father, Tiny Tim. And how did Tiny Tim behave at church?
As good as gold, and better.
I was glad to be able to go to church. That's because I wanted people to see I'm a cripple.
Well, that's a peculiar thing to say, Tiny Tim.
No, it isn't. That's because I was in God's house, and it was God who made the blind able to see and the lame able to walk. And when the people at church saw me and my crutch, I was hoping they would think of what God can do, and that they would say a prayer for me.
I am certain they must have prayed for you.
And one of these days, I'm going to get well, and that'll mean I can throw away this crutch and run and play like the other boys.
You will. You will, Tim. One of these days. And now, Mother, the big question. When will dinner be ready?
It's ready now. Just about the finest goose you've ever seen. Martha, you carry it in. Tom, you fetch the potatoes and turnips. Dick, Peter, set the chairs around the table.
And I'll sit between Father and Mother.
Well, this is going to be the best Christmas dinner anyone could hope for. And I'm the luckiest man in the world, having such a fine family.
It isn't a very big goose, is it? I believe I could eat the whole bird myself.
It's all Bob Cratchit can afford. His family doesn't complain. To them, that meager goose is a sumptuous banquet. And more important, much more important, Ebenezer.
Yes, go on.
They are a happy and united group. Look at their shining faces. Listen to them.
What a superb dinner we have had. The tempting meat, the delicious dressing.
And the plum pudding, Father. Don't forget that.
Thank you for the compliment. I must confess, it was
and now,
good.
Now, for the crowning touch. The punch. Now, here we are. Get your glasses. You, Peter, Dick, Martha, Tiny Tim, and last but far from least, you, Mother. And not to forget myself. There.
A toast.
First, the founder of this feast, the man who made it possible. I give you Mr. Scrooge.
Mr. Scrooge, indeed. I wish I had him here. I'd give him a piece of my mind to feast upon, and I hope he'd have a good appetite for it.
My dear, the children, Christmas Day.
He's a hard, stingy, unfeeling man. You know he is, Robert. Better than anybody else, my love.
My dear, remember, Christmas Day.
I'm sorry. Very well. I'll drink to his health. Long life to him. A Merry Christmas to him. To Mr. Scrooge.
And now, a toast to us. A Merry Christmas to us all. God bless us.
God bless us, everyone.
Spirit, tell me if Tiny Tim will live.
I see a vacant seat in the chimney corner, and a crutch without an owner carefully preserved. If these shadows remain unaltered by the future, the child will die.
No, kind spirit. Say he will live. Say he will be spared.
Why concern yourself about him? Isn't it better that he die and decrease the surplus population?
But these poor people must be helped.
Are there no prisons? And the workhouses, are they still in operation?
Do not taunt me.
Come, we must go.
Answer me.
We still have another stop.
Are you cold, my dear?
Oh, just a bit, but I don't mind.
We'll be home in another few minutes, and this walk will make us hungry.
Oh, not too hungry, I hope.
Don't worry, Peg. I'm sure there'll be more than enough to eat.
Is that his wife?
Yes, the niece you have never bothered to meet.
Christmas is such a wonderful day, and not a humbug as your precious uncle claims.
And you know, he believed it, too. More's the pity.
It's hard to have pity on such a man.
I feel sorry for him. However, his offenses carry their own punishment, and I've nothing to say against him.
Funny, his not wanting to bother us. All we ask is his company, nothing more.
He's the only one who suffers by his ill whims.
One thing, he's losing a fine dinner by it.
Well, let's hurry home, dear.
She seems like a nice enough sort, don't you think? I should like to meet her, I believe.
You had your chance, Ebenezer Scrooge. Now I must leave you. The time is drawing near.
Please, kind spirit, don't leave me. Not yet, not right now. I wish to talk. I wish to ask your advice.
Are you sure you need advice, Ebenezer? After all, are you not a rich man? A man of intelligence? A man who knows his own mind?
No.
Goodbye, Ebenezer. Wait for the stroke of 3.
As Ebenezer Scrooge comes to his senses, he discovers himself standing on the street outside of his lodgings. A heavy snow is falling, blanketing a sleeping London, and the wind has died down. It is still early Christmas morning.
Ebenezer Scrooge.
You are the third and the last.
I am the ghost of Christmas yet to come.
You're about to show me shadows of things that have not happened, but will happen in the time before us. Is that so, Spirit?
Yes, Ebenezer. That is correct.
I tremble at going before you. I fear what I am to see.
Come, Ebenezer.
Why do we stop here? Why here on the street corner, Spirit?
Those two men standing there, do you know them?
Why, yes, I do business with them.
Their conversation is interesting.
When did he die?
Last night, I believe.
I thought he'd never die.
What has he done with his money?
I haven't heard. Left it to his company, perhaps. Well, one thing is certain. He didn't leave it to charity.
Are you going to his funeral?
Not unless a free lunch is provided.
A very good point. Can't say that I blame you.
Spirit, this dead man they're discussing, who is he?
Come, I will show
you. This room, Spirit, it's too dark to see.
In front of you is a bed. On it lies a man. The body of the man those men on the street were discussing.
And no one has come to claim this body?
No one. For he left not a friend behind him. Come closer. Look into his face.
No, Spirit, this is a fearful place. Let us go.
At the face of this unclaimed man.
I would do it if I could, but I can't. I haven't the power.
Then follow me, Ebenezer Scrooge, to yet another setting.
Look here, Joe. Here's our chance. You're not going to take his things, are you? Why not? He won't miss them. Not a dead man. No, I suppose not. Everyone has a right to take care of himself. He always did. Now open up that bundle, Joe, and tell me the value of it. What do you call this? Bed curtains? Bed curtains? Don't drop that oil on the blankets now. His blankets? Who else's? He ain't likely to be cold without him, I dare say.
Oh, Spirit, let me see some tenderness connected with a death. If I don't, that lonely body in the dark room will ever haunt me.
Yes, I know of such a home. One where there is tenderness connected with death. Over here, on this poor street, and in this dismal house.
This house? Well, yes, I've been here before. Bob Cratchit, my clerk, lives here. There's Mrs. Cratchit and her eldest daughter, Martha.
Your eyes, Mother. You'll strain them working in this bad light.
I'll stop for a while. I wouldn't show weak eyes to your father when he comes home. It's time he was here.
Pa's did rather. But these days, he walks slower than he used to, Mother.
I've known him to walk with Tiny Tim upon his shoulders very fast indeed. He was very light to carry, and Father loved him so. It was no trouble. There's your father now at the door. You're late tonight, Robert.
Yes, I'm late.
I'll get some tea for you, Father.
Thank you, Martha.
You went there today, Robert?
Yes. I wish you could have gone. It would have done you good to see how green a place it is.
I'll see it soon.
You know, I promised him I would walk there every Sunday. My poor Tiny Tim. At least he got rid of his crutch.
Yes. Yes, at last he did. Our poor Tiny Tim.
Oh, Spirit, tell me, why did Tiny Tim have to die?
Come. There is still another place to visit.
A graveyard. Why do we pause here?
That tombstone. Read the name on it.
Before I do, answer me one question. Are these shadows of things that will be, or are they shadows of things that may be only?
The inscription on the tombstone.
It reads, Ebenezer Scrooge! No! Spirit, no! Hear me! I am not the man I was. I will not be the man I must have been but for this lesson. I will on a Christmas in my heart.
But will you?
Yes, I swear. I'll keep it alive all the year. I will live in the past, the present, the future. I will not shut out the lesson that all three spirits have taught me. Oh, tell me there is hope, that I may sponge away the writing on this stone. Oh, tell me! Oh, tell me there is hope. Tell me that I may sponge away the writings and tell me. What am I holding? What is this? It's my bedpost. I'm in my own bed, my own home. Those bells. It must be Christmas Day. Christmas Day. I wonder if it really is. We shall see. I shall open the window. You boy, down there. What day is it today, my fine lad?
Today? Why, it's Christmas Day, of course.
And to think the spirits have done it all in one night.
What did you say, sir?
Do you know the poulterers in the next street?
I should hope I do.
Why, an intelligent boy, a remarkable boy. Do you know whether they've sold the prize turkey that was hanging in the window?
The one that's as big as me.
Ah, delightful boy. Yes, the one as big as you.
It's hanging there now.
Ideas, go. Go buy it.
Oh, you're pulling me leg.
Indeed I'm not. Here is the money. Go, buy it, and deliver it to Bob Cratchit, who lives on Golden Street in Camden Town.
Cratchit? Golden Street? Camden Town? I understand, but, sir, there will be considerable money left over. Almost half a sovereign.
Yes, my boy, keep it, keep it.
Oh, thank you, sir.
And, boy, don't let Cratchit know who sent the turkey. It's a surprise. And something else. A very Merry Christmas to you.
And a Merry Christmas to you, sir.
We'll be ready for dinner in another half hour.
Wonderful. I'm as hungry as a proverbial bear.
Oh, Fred, if it's someone looking for charity, do what you can.
Who is it?
This took a lot of courage. But here I am. And nephew, introduce me to your wife.
It's Uncle Ebenezer. Uncle, this is Peg.
Are you a good cook, Peg?
Quite good.
Uncle, she's a wonderful cook.
I'm sure she is. I'm sure she is. I've accepted your invitation for Christmas dinner. From now on, both of you had better plan on seeing a great deal of me. I'll explain later, but right now, let me say, I'm a changed man. Well, Cratchit, what do you mean by coming to work at this time of the day? You're 18.5 minutes late.
I'm sorry, sir. I overslept.
Overslept? It's a poor excuse.
Please, sir, it happens but once a year. I was making rather merry yesterday.
Step this way. Now, tell you what, my friend. I am not going to stand for this sort of thing any longer, and therefore, I am going to raise your salary. A Merry Christmas, Bob. A merrier Christmas than I have given you for many a year.
Are you well, sir?
Couldn't be better. Then this afternoon, we'll discuss how I can best help you and your family, especially Tiny Tim. He'll get well. I'll see to it. And now, make up the fire and buy another cold scuttle before you dot another I.
You seem in unusually fine spirits.
Spirits? I should be, for I was visited by 3 of the nicest and wisest spirits that ever walked the earth.
God bless you, sir. And as Tiny Tim would say, God bless us, everyone.
Scrooge was better than his word. He did everything he promised and infinitely more. He became a persistent visitor to his nephew's home and even took Fred into business with him. He raised Bob Cratchit's salary to a figure that, well, left the bewildered gentleman gasping. And to Tiny Tim, who did not die, he was a second father. He provided doctors for the little lad, and very soon Tiny Tim will have his wish. He'll be able to throw away his crutch and run and play like the other boys. As for the 3 spirits, Ebenezer Scrooge never saw them again. That was due to the unchallengeable fact that Scrooge, for the rest of his days, helped keep alive the spirit of Christmas. And so, as Tiny Tim observed, God bless us, everyone.
You've been listening to Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, live from the Herberger Theater in downtown Phoenix. This year's KTAR Players featured Channel 5's Marisa Hilary as Fan, Channel 12's Janine Ford as Belle, John Gibson as the delivery boy, the Phoenix Suns' Jerry Colangelo as Old Fezziwig, J-Light's Melody Brooks as Martha, Greg Smith as Joe, Ned Foster as Joe's cohort, Channel 33's Sergio Pedrosa as the free lunchman number 2. Phoenix Mayor Paul Johnson as free lunchman number 1. Channel 3's Frank Camacho as Scrooge as a young man. The Phoenix Boys Choir David Lee as Tiny Tim. Gene C. Blue of the Opportunity Industrialization Center as the first solicitor. Congressman Ed Pastor as the second solicitor. Cindy McCain as Peg. Senator John McCain as Fred. Jay Lawrence as Marley's ghost. Channel 10's Linda Williams as the Ghost of Christmas Past. Michael Burkett as the Ghost of Christmas Present. Charlie Van Dyke as the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come. Jamie McFerrin as Mrs. Cratchit. Greg Henderson as the narrator. Pat McMahon as Bob Cratchit. And Michael Dixon as Scrooge. The 1991 production of A Christmas Carol was produced and directed by Channel 5's Lee Herman. Executive producers Scott Burton and Jack Minsel. Dean Canis, technical director. Doug Cannon, sound effects engineer. Chip Ulick, the theater technical director. Melissa Harvey, technical administrative assistant. Devin Quince, the theater sound engineer. Joe Ellen Arvizo, theater lighting director. And this has been your announcer, Preston Westmoreland. KTAR Radio. We want to thank you for coming on behalf of KTAR Radio on Channel 35. The Phoenix Channel would also like to give a special thank you to the Salvation Army, the Herberger Theater, Millstone Coffee, Harper's Nurseries, Big Four Restaurants, Bobby McGee's Costume Company, Tim Mitchell's Christmas Trees, and you for your generosity. We wish you the best of holiday seasons and a prosperous new year.